And we are live. He's back, everyone. He's back. He found his way home from the 51st state of Canada. Riser has returned to the great state of Utah, and we will once again start recording in real time to get you up to date on the 2025 shooting season. How was your trip, buddy?
It was pretty good. Went to Squamish and Whistler for a couple weeks, did a bunch of climbing, did bunch of biking, got rained out exactly one day, which for this time of the year and that location is very good. And it turns out that I'm significantly weaker than the last time I was there at the tail end of 15 months of straight climbing and biking, which is huge shocker, I know. But yeah, it's very good. Very good times.
Right on, right on. Well, as always, we are brought to you by Atlas Gunworks. How brought to you by Atlas Gunworks are we? I'm in search of. If any of you out there have a 40 red dot ready double stack 1911 from Atlas Gunworks, maybe drop an email at the on the perf podcast at gmail.com. I would love to discuss it with you and its virtues.
I have questions.
But
what? Why?
Lim 10, bro.
Oh, right. Lim 10 got dots.
Lim 10 got dots, and it's still major. It's still major. I have been wargaming all kinds of stuff. I think a teammate of ours is going to let me borrow one for a while. I'm not sure if I can convince him to sell it to me. That remains to be determined. But if there's one out there, I just want to discuss things about them with anybody who might have one out there in Atlas land. Or a single stack gun. I'm still holding out for maybe finding one of like the 5 Titan single stack guns that were ever made.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's how much we love Atlas Gunworks. We just keep buying more of them. They're just like I just want to collect them all and like just release them into a pasture somewhere where they can all just be happy and
do a farm
lives.
upstate.
Yep.
I got while I was in Canada, I got my my email from the shop that my barrel has been fitted to my gun. It is in process. The building of the gun is underway.
Dang, son.
We're very excited.
My order still has the little pizza wheel of death spinning. Like it hasn't started yet.
Well,
that's okay.
Come.
You need one more than me.
Yeah.
But as always, brought to you guys by Atlas Gunworks. And the topic today, we are, I don't know, I think the dust has settled from
hang on, homie.
Oh my gosh.
You skipped it. You skipped a step.
Oh.
You skipped a step. You
did say you had a good one.
I have a good Gary for you. Well, I just came back from Canada.
Where there are no guns.
We all know what happened up there a couple years ago. So my Gary of the day, letting your government take your guns away.
Oh,
doesn't
damn.
get much more Gary than that.
That's pretty Gary.
That's pretty Gary.
I did say I follow Eli Duckworth from Alchemy Custom Weaponry, 1776 Duck on his personal pages. He's a big old-timey collecting 1911s kind of guy. And he posted, his big thing is the Rock Island auction companies, like Premier Auction. And he posted a thing on his story the other day of, I guess they have one of Elmer Keith's 1905s, like the pre-1911, with the stock.
That's sick. What?
Yeah, and
Dude.
Supposedly, the legend goes, from what I gather on his Instagram stories, when the 1968 firearms ban went into effect, and he was notified that those would not be allowed anymore.
Yeah, because it's an SBR.
It sounded like there's a little Copperhead Road action when the feds went up there and they decided to just maybe leave them alone. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I need to investigate further, but Eli, he's pretty well researched. So yeah, Gary of the day, letting the man take your stuff.
I'm curious to hear how this all turns out.
Yeah. Gotta tell you though, I feel like Gary of the day after this match at the Factory Gun Nationals, because we'll just get me out of the way really quick. I had a lesson in reverse temperature sensitivity. If you'll recall from the Wisconsin section where I shot single stack, major, and went minor. I told you this story, right? Like this is the ammo.
Yeah, it's on the last show.
Yeah, this is the ammo that I shot at Western States single stack very early this spring. Chronoed 173. Thought it was no problem. I actually thought it was too hot and took some powder out of it. And that was the load that I shot at that match. Went 161, I believe, power factor. And so I was like, okay, did the math on like, how much I was under, how much I was over. The OG load that I had shot at Western States, that should be hot enough. But just in case it wasn't, I also brought another load, completely different bullet, loaded with the same powder, but another load that I knew to be major power factor when I was doing load development. Mind you, when do I do load development, Mr. Reiser?
In the winter.
In the winter. And the only time I've ever heard of temperature sensitivity in my limited scope has been people talking about how it would get faster with heat. They were worried about it sitting in the sun or something like that, or they would be purposely letting their ammo sit in the sun before the chronograph to get higher velocities. And I've also heard of KG chronograph attendants keeping the chrono ammo in coolers before the shooters get there. Like they pull it out of a cooler before you arrive. So in my scope of just what I perceive to be normal, I had only heard about it in reference to powders burning faster at higher temperatures. So I figured I was pretty safe when I developed my load. I mean, it sits in my truck all day while I'm at work outside where it is below freezing. And then I bring it into an indoor range where it is 65, 70 degrees and do my load development. It's been, I don't know if anybody has like knock on outside in the last couple of weeks, but it has been wicked hot no matter where you go. And Ohio was no exception. I think it was 105 when Tim Dundry and I were doing some stuff with a PD before the match. It was hot. And so I go minor in Wisconsin. I'm like, okay, I need to go to the known higher power factor ammo. I bring this other ammo with just in case. But I'm pretty confident that between these two, I'm going to make it. And unique to Factory Gun Nationals, they have, or to me, USPSA Nationals anyway, they have warm-up bays. Like you can just go and fart around in there to warm up. Pretty foreign concept to us in 3-gun. Usually we're using so much of the range that's like not a thing. There's like a function check bay, but it's not like a place where there's steel up and you can just go practice and burn rounds. But that's a thing here. And so being the the well prepared shooter that I was, I went straight to that practice bay, whipped out my Garmin, whipped out the ammo that I planned to shoot for the match. Boom, 158. Boom, 158. Boom, 156. 157. I'm like, oh, well, that's no good. And I'm like, and Tim was right there with me, and I'm like, this makes no sense. How is this ammo so soft? Tim, in like 5 seconds of Chat GPT, pulls up, oh, it would appear that Hodgdon Tightwad is known to be reverse temperature sensitive. I'm like, what the F is reverse temperature sensitive? Although it's pretty it's pretty obvious what reverse temperature sensitive is.
Yeah.
The hotter it is outside, the slower it goes. And so I'm like, oh, well, good thing I brought that backup ammo. Also,
But that's the same powder.
also loaded with tightwad. Boom, 158. Boom, 159. Boom, 157.
No. Dude.
Damn it. And probably what hurts the most is being so close. No, what hurts the most is that I had a perfectly good case of federal certified 45 match ammo at my house that I left there. I'm like, I won't need that.
Wait, you drove?
Yeah, I drove.
Oh, dude, you bring all the things.
It gets better. It gets better.
Oh my God.
So I didn't bring
Well,
that.
hang on. This is the night. This is still before the match, right?
Yeah, this is still before the match.
Okay. So how's your ammo buying retail sort of situation around there for 45?
Well, yeah. So I had Syntec factory match ammo or certified ammo at home. I have a rule though. I don't shoot Syntec at anything that I care about. Sorry, not sorry. I love federal products. Just don't love that particular product line. I had a perfectly good 40 at home with a known load, not loaded with tightwad, loaded with N320 that has chronoed well at this particular location at this match in the past. That was sitting at home. And as I went around and looked at the stages, I think when I first found Hunter Constantine, he's like, "Welcome to Open Target Nationals." I also had a perfectly good 9mm sitting at home, which I wish I would have had because there were so many wide open targets at this match. I really wished I would have shot Miner. So to Cabela's we go. And I was looking at it there, and they didn't have any of the factory certified or the certified match ammo there. And what I ended up buying was Winchester Self-Defense 230 grain hollow point.
Yes, dude. Wait. I'm gonna guess. 172.
Come on.
What does that seem high or low? That
That's
seems
way
like a pretty.
low.
Is it way low?
Way low.
Is it like 190 or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
I went 190 plus. I think I was.
So you won chrono.
Oh yeah, I did. It's the only stage I won at the whole match. And it was Jay Warden at the chronograph again. So the guy who had shot it 2 weeks prior.
Oh, you got the same dude. You're like,
Yeah.
I ain't going mine this time.
He's like, so you gonna make it this time? And I'm like, yep, we're gonna make it this time. And he goes, boom. Oh yeah, that feels different. And I'm like, yeah, I bet it does.
Oh, jeez.
And the cherry on top, if you're zeroed for an ammo that's going that slow, what do you think that does to your zero when you increase the velocity?
Well, if I were to guess, I'd say you had a lot of high misses and Charlies.
Yep, I had 13 mics at this match. We were upset about how we did at PCSL, but that was like show upset. This is probably the worst major match I've ever shot.
That sucks, dude.
The first day I had 5 mics, and 3 of those were mic no shoots, and I just could not pull it out of the death spiral. I could not. I think. Yeah, I almost 13. I got to the end and I was like, man, I've pretty much averaged a mic every stage. Which when I got to the end, it wasn't quite that bad. But seeing as how Nils lost by 2 mics in production, I mean, you can't throw 13 mics.
Yeah, you sure can't.
But that's how my match went.
Wow. I feel pretty good about the couple weeks off I just took.
Yeah, right. And I am ready to go back to dots. So it's time to put the single stack iron sight guns down for a little while. And
Yeah, back to the division hopping conversation we just had.
Back to division hopping, yes. We are at one of those hard points where I'm going back to modified gear. So,
Yep.
but that was my experience. Now, also, I was I elected to, like we talked about in the last episode, Hunter Constantine baited me into shooting from concealed. So, fortunately for me, I was the only person in single stack shooting from concealed.
Oh, I did see that you took that belt cache. I was like, I wonder if those $500 covered all that self-defense ammo to shoot the match with.
It didn't hurt. And then, and then I got an M&P on top of it. So thank you, Smith & Wesson.
Nice.
And if you're gonna, it's kind of like playing in Texas. If you're gonna play in Texas, you gotta have a fiddle in the band. Like if you're gonna hang out with Hunter Constantine, you probably have to have an M&P.
Probably have for sure.
Especially now, it looks like he just got picked up officially as a Smith & Wesson athlete now.
Ooh-wee.
So
Nice.
the contrast between Hunter Constantine and Jerry Micklick is astounding, but both very necessary.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate this. So I shot from concealed the whole time, and I don't think it was probably the least of my problems. I didn't sweat the draw like at all.
I wouldn't think so.
It was the belt that I wanted to wear because I told Hunter straight up, I was like, dude, I got to carry like 5 mags. I'm not concealing 7 single stack mags under my shirt. So I had the belt on, I had an appendix holster in, and then I had my normal USPSA reg over it.
Okay.
Which is kind of sized for when I'm smaller.
And there's not a gun under the hard belt.
Yeah, and there's not a gun under that, which is the main thing, right? Basically, it's a Safariland belt. I basically had to like suck it in and just barely I had to ugga-dugga. It was probably like 2 ugga-duggas to get to the first set of notches. First set.
Have you tried those ratchet belts?
I have not.
I've been kind of curious, but so my problem is though I don't think I can actually run the ratchet belt because for 3-gun, as we have discussed, I have a 28-inch waist, which means I don't have a lot of physical room on my belt, and I will occasionally have a mag directly behind my pistol. And not to come from the right hand, but that's just where the next mag goes as you keep wrapping around. So if I'm shooting some big old Parma stage or something like that, it's pretty common for me to actually have a mag directly behind the pistol. And I don't think I have enough room to have a holster and then a ratchet and then another ELS pouch. So I don't think I can do it. But if I figure out that I can do it, I think I'm going to give one of them a go.
My thing is I've seen so many of them break that I'm just not into it.
How many people do you think you've seen lose a belt mid-stage?
Ever?
Yeah.
12 to 15.
I was going to say I got to be at least 10 at this point.
Yeah.
I've seen several of them happen at very large 3-gun competitions where not only coaching is allowed, but you can do things like run somebody a shotgun when their shotgun breaks and that kind of stuff. I have run behind somebody while they're shooting a full drink Ironman stage, literally holding their belt on while they're shooting.
Yeah.
And there's like 40 shotgun shells and 3 rifle mags and 4 pistol mags and all the other stuff. Yeah. So
and at least 10 of them were ratchets that I saw, especially when they were new.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Most of mine haven't been ratchets. They've all been just thing came undone.
Most of mine have been ratchets. When the ratchets first came out, of course, when the ratchets come out, everybody's like, oh, that's such a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? I could just go to Playing Again Sports and get a snowboard binding and make my own. Yeah, all those fall apart. So yeah, I'm very gun shy about the ratchet. Even though I'm sure there's some good ones out there. I'm just it's not for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm shooting from concealment, do that thing, and I actually like it. We're gonna get to this a little bit later in the show, but I like how it broadens the format. I think our sport needs to be approachable to as many people in as many ways as possible, without diluting like the main thing, without like letting PCC into 3-gun and like completely altering the course of the sport. I think if there's a way you can safely interface with our sport, be it with a set of equipment, well, yeah, with any set of equipment, be it firearm or support equipment, I think there should be a place for you. So we get to the awards, and they start off the way awards do, all lame. It's just, there's just not much you can do unless you have Metallica playing or something, and they're not touring right now. So they cater the meal. They start the thing up. Of course, SIG's the title sponsor, so they
Wait. Did they have a podium?
They did not.
What the? We're trying to help, guys.
Yeah, we're giving away so many ideas for free, and they didn't take them. But they get Phil up there from SIG to do the the title sponsor. Hey, you want to say a few words? Of course he does. I don't know if he was just trying to do it off the cuff and hadn't put enough thought into it, or if he was maybe just a little bit too drunk. But I'm sorry, man, it didn't make any sense at all. It was very, very rambly. And so blah 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 blah. Oh, SIG. Oh yeah. All right. Then Jake's like, and presenting sponsor is Vortex Optics, and I know Adam Maxwell's here from Vortex Optics. Adam, do you want to say? And I'm giving him the nope.
Yeah.
I'm giving him the other throat slit. Like, no, I ain't following that. And maybe if I had thought about it more than 5 minutes, I would have tried. But I was like, I am not talking off the cuff after whatever the hell that was.
Did I ever tell you about my favorite sponsor speech ever?
No.
So this was an early Hard as Hell. Brian Nelson, I think it was his first time. I can't even remember his match director, but he's like 16 at the time, something like that. It's his first time being the guy up there with the mic. Ken's handing it off. And so he's introducing sponsors, and it's late. There's been a shoot off, all the stuff. It's like 6 o'clock, something like that. Everyone's thrashed from being on the range for 3 days. And he's giving every sponsor a 5-minute introduction about how they've helped out and how they've done this and everything else. And the sponsor comes up and says some words, and everyone's just like, shit, man, we got flights to catch. We're all tired. It's time to go. And then he goes, Odin Gun Works, a huge sponsor of the shooting sports, blah, 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 blah. Brian gives some, 5-minute introduction, and he goes, is Aaron Goodfellow here? Yeah, there's Aaron Goodfellow. Aaron, come on up and say a couple words. Aaron walks up, grabs the mic, and he goes, everybody's tired, OdinGunworks.com, and hands it back to Brian. Standing ovation. Know your audience.
What happened next takes the cake for me. Because Jake then comes up, he's like, all right, and Hunter Constantine's been doing a little side match here, and he's got a few words to say.
Yes.
Hunter stands up. Everybody at his table just starts going, bull, 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 bull. The whole room erupts in belt. And if you don't know who Hunter Constantine is, you are wondering what the F is going on, because there is an insurrection going.
Yeah, he's handing out piles of thousands of dollars when there's like nothing that valuable on the prize table.
Hunter, his cameraman is also named Hunter. They come up there, they burst onto the scene like a Kool-Aid man with no shit, like a hay bale worth of cash. Like it's in a clear, some kind of clear duffel bag. It looks like a hay bale stuffed with cash. Boom! And they just start giving out saran wrapped bundles of singles to all kinds of people. And I'm sitting next to Tim Dundry. He's memeing away. He's like, everybody who didn't shoot belt right now, thinking they should.
I saw the
belt.
Memes.
Yeah. It was like, it was the greatest thing ever. And you could see like the USPSA guys behind him while he's doing it. They're kind of squirming. Like, what is this? How long is this gonna go? Hunter just. Like I say, he came on and he refused to yield until he had given away absolutely every single one of those bundles. That's was
awesome,
amazing. And then the rest of the awards proceeded to happen, where they would present you with a trophy that you could not keep for the picture, and then they would send it to later. So
What?
Yeah, they only had one ceremonial trophy for the pictures.
Oh my
And then
god.
they'll send you one with your name on it later.
Yep, this is our nationals, ladies
Which
and
I get,
gentlemen. This
but
is the best our sport has.
Yeah, which I get, but I was like, dude, you just got schooled by a dude with a bunch of singles.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
So that was cool.
Ugh.
And a lot more people participating in belt this year than last year, which is cool.
I saw that. That was a stacked field.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, the Factory Gun Nationals, and kind of a topic that I kind of wanted to hit around today, because there's a little bit of back and forth on this in the community around, should this be Carry Optics Nationals paired, or should it be what they called Factory Gun Nationals, pairing in essentially all the low cap divisions in with Carry Optics. Now, those divisions all are super small. I was in one of the smallest in single stack, and quickly.
I did see that there were a couple people in open though.
Oh, that's a good story too.
Oh, sweet. I was wondering, because I saw the names in open, and they were open shooters.
Yeah.
And they were shooting major, and I'm like,
So
this seems like a little something.
So a sold out match of 400
Shannon Smith
people.
was in there, right?
Yeah, sold out match of like 400 people. 38 of them were shooting single stack, right? I think Casual Shooter Podcast, he did a pre-match show, which is very good. Go check it out. He said 4 out of 5 shooters at this match are shooting a Carry Optics gun. All right, so it's astounding numbers.
Checks out.
There were some folks there. Notably absent was the AMU. They were somewhere else.
Really?
Doing IPSC things, I think. But a couple of those guys that went open major, they basically said, screw it, we're shooting open major, practicing for World Shoot. So they just like by default, they just showed up with obviously illegal Carry Optics gear, and just
nice.
They're like, we're shooting World Shoot in the open. Here's 20 stages of scrimmage practice, baby.
Yeah.
And they went that route. Also,
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
And like I said, because of my shenanigans and a few others that I heard about, I thought about making the Gary of the day know your equipment's going to pass equipment check before you get there. I believe Tim Herron was bumped to open as well because his gun was half an ounce overweight.
What?
That is the word on the street.
Wow.
And I heard John McClane actually was getting jammed up a little bit because they didn't like the serrations on his slide. They thought they looked like lightning cuts, which is preposterous because
whenever I get into one of these conversations, I just love 3-gun more and more.
Well, and John McClane's a 3-gunner, so like he got right in there and he was like, "Listen, Linda," and he talked him down from that. He also went minor, by the way.
Man,
but yeah. So
is all your guys' old 45 ammo just going old or something? What the hell's going on?
He was shooting 40. He was shooting 40 from a company that is one of the certified ammo sponsors. I don't know if John just like didn't fill out his. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Huh.
But I mean,
okay.
John is arm score guy, so I'm not sure. At least to the best of my knowledge, he's arm score guy. So I'm not quite sure.
Oh, I know. Have you ever seen? He hasn't done one in a while, but have you seen his videos trolling Nils' how to reload videos?
No.
So for a while, Nils was dropping I can't remember if he put him. I think he's putting it on my Instagram. Nils would do like a reloading tips type thing, and he's like, "Oh, reloading ammo for the such and such," and he'd do like, "You know what I like to do is blah blah blah," and then like an hour later, John would just have a video of just like opening up a case, pulling cases out of one, putting them in his range bag, and closing the case. And then Nils would do another how to reload video, and then John would just trolling him like every single time. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. John wasn't ready to laugh about that yet.
I bet.
But yeah, so as a concept, though, last year this match was Carry Optics Nationals. Carry Optics was the only division recognized here. Open was only for people who failed equipment check. Sold out with a wait list. Now, if you'll recall, in the past, some of the grumblings of how USPSA was being run was, well, we should consolidate the nationals. Oh, we just lose money on the nationals, so we should do less nationals, blah, blah, blah. And so one of the things they did and are doing is they've consolidated some of them together. So low cap is now pulled into Factory Gun with Carry Optics. And so in a way, some folks feel like they kind of watered down Carry Optics because they have kind of low cap friendly stages, whatever that means. But they're kind of trying to balance a low cap match with a Carry Optics match. Some folks think that, well, by allowing or having the low cap divisions there, you're essentially diluting out some people who wanted to come to nationals. So there are Carry Optics shooters who didn't get to come because the low cap divisions were there. Other people think it's just the biggest one, so it should have its own thing. But at the same time, if you were to have a low cap nationals in the past, which they did, that match didn't really sell out unless one of the low caps I went to, a bunch of people there were shooting limited 10 because they were basically limited shooters and they didn't have anywhere else to be that weekend, so they loaded 10 rounds into their limited guns. But they were getting lower and lower participation at a low cap nats, so they got some heat for that because they lost money on it. But it was like, okay, so we blended it together, and now they're kind of like, well, it's low cap nats, but it's not, or it's Carry Optics Nationals, but what are these low cap people doing here? From the outside looking in, Riser, where are you at on all that? How many who should be recognized at a nationals like this?
Yeah, I would have to say I'm very much on the outside because I have never been to a USPSA handgun nationals at all. I'm while I have a USPSA number and I've paid my dues and all that other good stuff, I would not think of myself in any way as a USPSA shooter. So this is way outside, but you know how I feel about competition. You know how I feel about hiding. I would want all of the people in one if possible. Like, as popular as Carry Optics is, I would think one giant match that just has everybody in the most popular division at it would be the way to go. I think, I mean, I am, I don't have any dog in this fight, but there's some of these divisions where I'm like, why is this here? Like, why is L10 still a thing? Like, I understand now it got dots and that kind of makes it sort of different and interesting and everything else. But up until that point, I'm like, if there's 10 round states, those states already have to have 10 rounds and everything. So limited just becomes L10 by default. So, when it comes to these like really tiny little divisions, I think, I don't know. I think it's the risk to me is watering down competition, talent, stage difficulty, all of those things for the biggest division in order to have a place for these other kind of hanger-on divisions to live. I would say if you're going to roll all that stuff in, make it a CO match and everybody else can come play. That's how I would do it. Now, this is with zero forethought. I haven't thought about USPSA stuff for quite a few months and haven't been paying attention to what's going on. So there's a pretty good chance that with a little bit more contemplation, I would have a different opinion. But that's kind of my go-to thing. Like, if CO is the biggest division by far, which it is, and that's where all of the heat is, which it is, then I wouldn't want to do anything to compromise the integrity of that national event. And to me, I feel like a national event, if this is a thing that sells out and there's a freaking 200 person wait list and nobody can get in and all this other stuff, then if there's that sort of volume of people that want to get into it, I would like to see a way to qualify for a national level event where this is supposed to be the place where we crown the best shooter in the country.
Yep.
Right. So if there is some way that some top shooter can't get in because he, was on a work trip and didn't have good reception the day that everything opened up, then, that's a travesty to me. So I would like to see a way that people would qualify to get into a match. I would like to see it be its own thing. I would like to see it be hard shooting, varied shooting. I wouldn't want to have a national event where people are walking around talking about how everything is watered down so iron sight shooters can hit the targets.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. At the high levels and in all the classes, those people do earn their slots through shooting matches. So from area matches, from I think I'm a little fuzzy on how it works, but it's your performance last year earns you another slot into nationals, or your performance at your area match. And then I think it also goes down. There's a way.
Oh, okay. So you can clear a certain percentage or a certain number at your area match and just earn a slot.
All the earned slots are given out first, so all those people get to sign up. And then is
this different by man. By the way, guys, I just drove from Canada and my brain is pretty much melted right now because I got home like an hour ago. Area is this different per area? Because I was looking into getting into open nationals here. It's the same per area. So if you place it a certain percentage at area match, you just get a national slot.
Yep. And it's somewhat part of the controversy from last year when Area 3 canceled their match. All the constituents of Area 3 essentially did not have the opportunity to earn their way in.
Can you earn your way in a different area?
No, you cannot. That was my question.
So if you want to go to Open Nationals and CO Nationals, you have to pick the one that you care about the most and shoot that one at your area match.
That is my understanding. So all those folks get to sign up first. So first B, Carry Optics for Area 5 gets to sign up first. Whatever is left over goes into open enrollment. All right. So after a certain date, it is open enrollment and the rest of the slots are allowed to fill. So the question would be a question that was posed that I heard other people say is, well, these low cap shooters are diluting out people from this match. Well, this is a national championship. We're here to determine a national champion. Who wasn't here that was a contender? I mean, at the top we have Christian, Brantley Merriam, and JJ. Who didn't get in, and we could keep running down the list. My friend Tim, Tamfo Timmy. Okay, Tim is a legit grandmaster in Carry Optics, his chosen division. He does not have distraction syndrome like I do. He shot a bad. He thought he shot a bad match, but he was stoked to be in the top 100. A grandmaster stoked to be in the top 100. Okay, so G's are all the way down into the 80 percentile, in some of this stuff. And so it's well, if it's a national championship and we want some exclusivity to it, you want some kind of prestige. I mean, maybe it's not a match that everybody can get into, or because this is the other thing. It's how do we make more slots? If this match is so well attended, if so many people want to go to this match, why don't we make more seats? I don't know. Maybe the match needs to run over 2 weekends. I don't know. But that was the thing is to me, it's well, if all the people who earned their way there get to go, who's really wronged by there being other divisions there determining their national champion.
Do you think that the presence of the other divisions watered down the stages?
I don't think so. This is another thing. Last year, it felt like a lot of people were whining that it was too hard. I think we talked about this in another episode. Like, they put a mini popper at 20 yards, and they're like, "Oh my god, this was too hard." I'm like, what? You have a dot, for crying out loud, and the bullet's not dropping yet. But this year, everyone was like, it's so easy. Like, the stages were so easy. Which, in one hand, there's a few different ways that breaks down. One, at a Nationals, they don't want to do anything that's going to create controversy in stage design. So a lot of, like, your interesting props, interesting activators or things like that, high disaster factor stuff, they're generally not going to do it because they want the match to be determined by shooting, not by luck. We talked about that before too, right? Sometimes the way the really cool stages go, the way the chips fall, you just had bad luck on that thing. And that's a bad look for a sanctioning body, so they don't want that to happen. So it tends to be they're not going to show a whole lot of leg in their stage design. The other thing is it's got to flow. All right, so they don't want anything to bottleneck. So really elaborate stages can do that. And then they had to factor in that low cap people were there, but at the same time, by the rules, you can't have more than 8 targets or more than 4 targets per view anyway for it to be a legal stage. So all stages, by virtue of being USPSA legal,
they're all low cap stages.
They're all low cap stages anyway. It's just when I talk about shooting contemporary stages, how they're kind of designed by carry optics shooters, and then when you look at them through a low cap lens, sometimes they suck. It's because a lot of times the things that are fun for high cap shooters is, and there's a guy local to us here, we give him crap for it, but he likes to design stages where he like starts moving and starts shooting, and he's moving the whole time, so they turn into kind of running stages almost. He's got 24 bullets in his gun. He wants to move and shoot the whole time. And it's like, okay, well, that stage for a low cap guy, it can kind of get choppy in a way that's not as fun. So, and me being kind of involved where I am, the ways that I am, they were kind of asking me, well, how do these work out for low cap stages? I thought they were good. I didn't think they were dumbed down for a low cap standpoint, but they were also hyper worried about rain. Hyper worried. The forecast was not good. And we did actually get rained on. I think we did actually get significantly rained on a few times.
All right. The most important question then, did they splurge for the waterproof targets?
Yes. And that is why
Good for them.
It was open target nationals, because they don't have...
Good for them.
They didn't have waterproof partials. So I think at some point... they said, nope, we're using the waterproof targets. And so they pretty much turned into...
Wait, does tape not stick to the waterproof targets or something?
I don't think paint does. I'm not quite sure on how that works, but that was kind of what other people were like. Oh yeah, they're using the double alpha waterproof targets. Okay. And so that's. But I mean, basically, they have like this heavy wax on them. It's like pasting a gel or a glazed donut. Like, it looks to me, the target looks like a donut. Like, it's got a thick wax on it, and then you got to have a special kind of pasters, which, hats off. I don't know if every stage did this, but the stage that we started off on, homegirl had a log of pasters, and she was like, "Hey, anybody with paster guns? You wanna roll for the match? We've got the waterproof pasters right here, blah blah blah." They wanted to make sure you loaded your paster gun with the waterproof pasters, and it wasn't, "Hey, screw you paster gun guys, you're wasting on our pasters." It's like, "No, here you go. Here, load up, and when you run out, come and get more from us." It's like, you know what?
Nice.
That's spot on.
Well played.
Spot on.
Well played.
And when you take a fresh roll into your pacer gun, starting off a match like that, you're setting a goal. In my mind, you're setting a goal.
Because here's the thing: you want to finish that roll so you can plus up before the match ends. You walk home with a fresh roll in your pacer gun.
And I did not. I was trying hard. I was trying really hard. I did not get to the bottom of my roll.
Oh no!
But yeah. So
better luck next time.
So the grumblings were it was open target nationals. Basically a lack of kind of challenge from partials and no shoots kind of way. But
do those wax targets have white backs?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
But that's what people are saying. It's like, oh man, this is the nationals, and like, oh, it's too easy. And in my head, I was like, well, last year you guys were saying it was too hard. So everybody I heard say it was too easy, I was like, did you think it was too hard last year? They're like, no, I thought it was awesome last year. I'm like, okay, well, fair enough then. But it's like, man, if you were complaining last year that those 20-yard minis were too hard, then you can just shut it. Yeah, you can shut it. But that was where, like, when I started walking around, and part of the reason, like, back to my Trail of Tears, part of the reason I left my 9mm gun at home. For my work thing, I had 1,500 rounds of Federal 147 in my truck. Did not have the gun to shoot them. But I was walking around, and I'm like, I think I even on a previous show, I think I said, I've never seen the match where I've been like, yes, this is the match where I'm going to shoot Miner. This is the one. This is the one. I need the 2 rounds per magazine and X, Y, and Z. That makes the sense. I walked around on Thursday and I'm like, this is the one. This is it. Welcome to my hell. You know, it's like, I was like,
instead you're shooting 190 power factor.
Yep.
Hollow points.
Yep. And for those who watched the live stream, now shout out to USPSA. They were trying to do some more media stuff. So they were trying to do live commentary with Jake Martins and Shannon Smith on Brian Conley's the Hunters HD Rumble. So they were trying to do some like live commentary casting. And one of the stages they were at the stage when I was there. So went back and watched it. One of my buddies said, "Hey, watch this," and he time clipped it for me because I didn't watch the whole thing. Jake made mention of that. He actually said he wished he was shooting mine because they're like, you know, he's shooting from concealment. Oh, he's shooting a 45. Oh, yeah. And Jake was like, yeah, and he actually said he really wished he was shooting Miner at this match. And Shannon Smith was like, yeah, never been done though. No one's ever won shooting Miner. Blah blah blah. Guess what?
Nils won limited shooting Miner.
Well, yeah, nobody's won single stack shooting Miner.
Yeah, but if you can win limited shooting Miner, you can definitely win single stack shooting Miner.
Yeah,
just saying. You just have to be Nils.
Yep. But 8 hours later, when we were at the awards ceremony, Joey Sauerland, first shooter in history to win the single stack national championship shooting Miner. Straight
That's
up.
Awesome.
And he did it on purpose. He didn't like go Miner like John McClane did. I think he actually legitimately was shooting Miner.
He's shooting 130 instead of 160.
Yeah, but like when they have, for those keep you score at home and didn't hear the other episode, the decision is, it's not necessarily the reloads, again, because, I mean, you might get through a tight spot with 2 more rounds, or, you know, you have a little bit more, so we say, cushion, especially for those steel targets, you know, where you got to go 1 for 1. Sometimes you do have to look pretty hard because you have 1 bullet and it has to hit that piece of steel or you're going to have to do another reload. So more bullets is nice, yes. But the real reason Major versus Minor, straight from Rob Latham himself, when I asked him, he said it comes down to partials and no-shoots. If there's a bunch of partials and a bunch of no-shoots where you're going to be tempted to aim further out towards the Charlie, if you're shooting Major, it doesn't hurt as bad than it does in Minor, you know, where you lose more points. But he's like, if it's a match full of wide open targets, he's like, the advantage of Major is kind of gone and kind of negated by the capacity and recoil advantage of minor. And so
Yep.
when the first time I heard Hunter say open target nationals and Tim was right behind him saying open target nationals, I was like, I have a perfectly good minor. I have 2 perfectly good single stack minor guns at home, and
you had some perfectly good 45 major ammo at home too.
yeah, I had
You had a lot of solutions at home.
I had
just none of them
so
made it
many
into the car.
solutions to my problem at home, and it's too funny to be sad. but it's actually pretty embarrassing. But you know, we put ourselves out in this medium so you can learn from our mistakes. So, folks,
Yeah.
reverse temperature sensitivity is a thing. If you got guns, if you're driving to a match, don't leave guns at home. Just bring them all.
Bring them all. Exactly. Yeah, even for 3-gun matches. I mean, I have to do like 15 trips out of the basement to the van to load up for a large 3-gun match here because I bring all the things.
Yeah.
I never want to be left without. Flying a match is way harder because you got to be a little more selective because weight's a thing. But yeah, if you're driving, just fill that truck.
The reason I left it is because the 9mm gun is a rail gun, and the holster I was planning to use for the match was not a rail compatible holster, so it was more it was a government profile holster.
Gotcha.
And the holster I had for that one, I did have an appendix holster for that one, but it's more of as most of them are, it's more of a concealment holster than a gamer holster. So it actually does its job and it tucks the butt up against you. Where the one I was using actually is not a great concealment holster. It actually prints fairly bad. But that means it's because the butt is sticking out, so you can grab that thing.
Draws easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I want to use this holster with this setup, blah, blah, blah. I already kind of cobbled this thing together. Okay, that gun is going to work with this holster. I don't want to use that holster. Yep, not going to need it because I have all these other ammos that are going to work just fine. Nope. So actually, funny. So I'm rolling up. So I have this rig on. Okay, I have my USPSA single stack belt on with no holster because my holster's on a QLS clip, so the normal holster is gone. Yeah. All right, there's just the UBL there.
I know where this is going. I saw the Instagram post.
Yeah, and I am wearing my Max T jersey. Right, going back to the jersey episode. Okay, I legit wore my jersey, even though I probably would have done better in a stretchy sun shirt. But, you know, for all the reasons we talked about in that episode, like we're a presenting sponsor, you know, we do this show. Like I want the shirt with my name on it so people can find me for the reasons that we discussed. So I'm shooting in my jersey, which fits fairly snug. All right. Like it's not like Vespucci leggings tight, but I mean, it's pretty tight. I stand up there. I go up to there on more than one occasion, but in one in particular, the dude's looking at, like, they come up to my right side for the obvious reason, out of habit, and they're like, oh, sorry, left side. They go over to the left side, and they don't see anything. And they're like, and then they kind of do, with my eyes in the back of my head, I can kind of see them do the shoulder shrug thing, like, where's the gun? And one guy, he actually walked around in front of me, and he's like, he literally said, where's your gun? I said, you bring the range commands, I'll produce the gun. and he's like, make ready? And I got it out, and he's like, oh, I couldn't find it. And I'm like, slap a mag in. I'm like, yep, that's kind of the point.
Oh, it had to feel good.
That was awesome.
I hope you shot that stage really well.
Yeah, I actually did. That one went really well.
Awesome.
But I heard was it a Chris Costa story or maybe it was Clint Smith? But in the early days of IDPA, they did kind of the same thing. Like they showed up and they couldn't tell, and he was like, "You say you." I think Clint Smith said, "You provide the whistle, I'll provide the guns." I'm like, "Here's my chance. Here's my chance to do it." But also for all you CCW people out there, all right, this was printing pretty bad. All right. And this dude definitely suspected that I had a gun. All right. I'm standing in the shooting box waiting for the make ready. Could not find my government size 1911.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the printing thing is more about how you carry yourself
absolutely
than what the like. If you're like a fidgety weird person and you're worried about your gun all the time, people are just gonna notice that you're fucking with stuff the entire time. But if you're walking around like everything's good, I mean, you know, I've been in a couple places where I've seen a person's Second Amendment hanging out and nobody else notices.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
When I used to work at the store, one gas station in particular, like in the summer when I couldn't just throw on, it wasn't like natural just throw on a hoodie or a jacket because it was cold outside. I would occasionally run to the gas station for a snack or whatever, which was rare, but I would do it. I just roll up there, open carrying. Nobody ever said anything. I had a full size 5-inch 45 with a light on it, and then nobody said shit.
Yeah,
people are pretty much oblivious most of the time, but that was a fun story. Back on topic though. So if all these other divisions are so small, all right, if I think production was less than 10, production was the second biggest division, and it was still less than 10% of the shooters. Single stack was smaller than that, and revolver, of course, was extremely small.
It's so wild that not long ago production was the premier division.
It was the king.
It's crazy how fast it changed.
It would be yeah. They would have. I don't know if they ever did, but like production nationals on today's scale would be its own thing. That would be the standalone match.
They did have production nationals. Yeah. It's nuts. Yeah.
And so these people.
But yeah. So production was very small. Single stack obviously small. Was Revo there?
Revo was there.
Okay.
How many guys shot Revo? I think like most of the match was decided in the staff shoot. I think, or at least one of the key guys shot the staff match. Dang it. But yeah, it was there. It was very small. Still looks like fun, honestly, but I think it's something I'm only going to do once a year at the Western States. Sorry, my scrolling is terrible because I didn't put my mouse on. 22 dudes in revolver. So should every division have a nationals?
No, not if they're that small.
So
I mean,
at what
I don't know that there's enough. I don't know if there's enough Revo shooters out there right now, or single stack shooters out there right now to fill up a nationals. I mean, like I said, I haven't thought about this for a very long time, if really ever. I'm primarily a 3-gun shooter. This isn't really my world, but in the world that I like, let's say it's not this way, but it has been in the past. Let's say Open and CO are in the same match. I wouldn't want that because there's people who like shooting both of those divisions, and I would want people to be able to get a swing at both of them, right? So I would, if all other things are equal and making money is not the object and all this other stuff, I think it would be really cool if divisions large enough to sell out a match just had their own nationals, and then the smaller divisions that don't were all chopped into one. The other thing that has been kind of cool in the past is the exact opposite, although I think it disperses talent too much, because I remember right as I started shooting, St. George had the big old USPSA Pistol Nationals, and it was all the divisions all in one match in a massive match at St. George. And that's pretty cool to just have like a giant national event. But have you ever watched like the 24 Hours of Le Mans?
Yeah.
Race car guy? Yeah. Have you ever seen the prototype cars drive past the GT cars? with like a closing speed of 100 miles an hour in the dark, in the rain. Like, there's a reason that Formula One just races with Formula One.
Yeah.
And it allows you to, mostly in the stage design thing, like it allows you to do things that are good challenges for open guns and CO guns and LO guns that are, way too, I mean, I don't know if way too hard is really the word, but it allows you to challenge accurate comped dot pistols in a way that you really probably shouldn't be challenging iron sight 45s, because it's just going to be way too hard for most people. So I like the idea of sort of like splitting them out to a point, but at some point, if the divisions get small enough, but it seems that the divisions where there's capacity and dots, those are all big divisions. And the divisions where there's not capacity and there's not dots, those tend to be the smaller divisions. Like I feel like that'd be a pretty easy way to have like a and everybody else nationals.
Yeah, I think the challenge there was the and everybody else nationals doesn't bring enough people to be sustainable. Like it doesn't draw enough staff. It doesn't, entry fees don't necessarily pay for a range, all that stuff. So I think the idea of pairing these two together is that they can can almost be a parasite on the larger divisions. The other question would be is like, how small is too small to have a national? So it's like, well, if a division has to be of a certain size, what size does it have to be to have a nationals?
Yeah.
1% of USPSA total participation, 2%, 5%, 10%. I think I always play fast and loose with statistics, but I believe carry optics is something like 40% of all participation in USPSA. Every USPSA match across the country going on all year long. Every club, every area, every section, overall participation, people entered into matches, 40% is just carry optics. So like,
I'm actually surprised it's not more.
it might be. I just want to be conservative on that number. I'm not super solid on that.
Yeah,
number.
like at our matches, I bet it's 60% CO. I bet it's 60% CO, 30% LO, and 10% is like the rest of the divisions combined. At our local matches with like 180 people.
Yeah, because you get down into like the 10 or even single percentages for open, limited, like pretty predominant divisions. So the question would be, at what size is a division too small to have a nationals? The other question would be, World Shoot year, how do we pick a World Shoot team if there's not a national event that you have to participate in and go head-to-head against everybody? That's another question too. Some of what we were working through on the long gun side is like, how do we make sure that like the heat shows up and that like the heat shoots against each other so we know who's the best? So some of that too. So at the end of the day, I think consolidating the nationals is a good idea. If the matches really are, if they are a loss leader, let's say, on actually putting them on, if the organization actually loses money putting on so many nationals, we should consolidate them together so that we can pool costs. But I'm also coming from the guy, like I shoot single stack, I shoot limb 10, I shoot occasionally revolve. Like I like the other divisions. So, for every one of me, there's a Timmy saying, nope, that's dumb. Now I'm putting words in Timmy's mouth, but there are a lot of people out there who are like, oh no, screw you guys, like carry optics is the best and you should all be in carry optics and we should just have one champion. I don't think that's sustainable for the sport. Is this the best way to do it? I don't know, but I do think on face value, some of these questions would be like, oh yeah, well it should be its own thing, but it's like the bigger picture. I do think this is kind of how it has to be until some other evolution of doing it comes along. And I also like that a finite number of slots available at nationals. I think that should just make it more prestigious, and I think they should they should push that participation to the area matches. Like I think that raises the stock of area matches. If you can't get into nationals, or I follow motocross. All right, so motocross, their nationals on the amateur level is a place called Loretta Lynn's in Tennessee. Throughout the country, you have to race Loretta's qualifiers to get in. Like the only way you can get to Loretta's is by doing so well at an area match or whatever, or at an area race. If you race your area and you don't get in, you got to go to another area. So it is fairly common for them to hop around the country. So I kind of like that concept for our sports. Like if you really want to go to nationals, I think you should have to be active in the area series. And if you don't get in, if you're in area 3 and you don't get in, it means you got to go to area 5, area 6, area 7. You have to participate in the area series. That makes the area matches more prestigious. When the area matches start filling up, section matches. I think you should have to participate in the section matches to get to the area matches. I think the answer, as we make the prestigious slots at the top more limited, that pushes participation down to the grassroots level where the sport is the most sustainable. I don't think the answer is we should cater to people who just train, and they only come out of the woodwork for the big matches. I think you should be active in the sport and have to work your way up to get into nationals. That coming from a guy who got a sponsor slot. So take that for what it's worth. The last thing I wanted to bring up now, Hunter's most, the Constantine's most wanted, I think is what he calls it, but the Hunter Constantine belt bounty has created a monster, right? All right. There's all kinds. More and more people are doing the shoot from concealed, which is cool. I do like it. But of course, it created some controversy around the rules and the draws and the 180s and all that stuff. I think a lot of the sport is still kind of uncomfortable with how that's all going. But I do think it's really cool. I do think there should be a place for it in the sport. I started in IDPA. IDPA is essentially a sport founded on all that stuff. And so as the Constantine stuff gets more and more popular, I think some resistance to it is like, well, that's not really what we do here. You should go over there and do that in IDPA. IDPA, I was really thinking about this the other day. IDPA is essentially, to me, a well-disguised, I would put it in the same category as GSSF, the Glock Sports Shooters Fund. Like Glock, it's Glock matches for Glocks, and that's the only way is Glock. And it's very canned for their pistols. Or the Shoot SIG. Shoot SIG. You cannot participate in Shoot SIG if you don't have a SIG. IDPA is essentially Shoot Wilson. All right, it's Wilson Combat's sport.
I knew this was coming.
Right? It's Bill Wilson, and God bless these guys. These are some of the grandfathers of our sport. But it's Bill Wilson, Ken Hackathorn, Larry Vickers, got together and essentially made a sport around the doctrine that they were teaching at the time. All right, so it's very built around. Well, ultimately, it's built around combat 45s, but I mean, it's built around strong side, leather holsters, 2 mag pouches on your support side, concealment garment, all that stuff. Tactical priority, like some of the rules in there, they kind of they indoctrinated the ways you had to engage targets, for a inside the box way of thinking about how a defensive shooting would take place. And it's so rigid that it doesn't evolve. Like I have not shot IDPA in over 10 years, even though that's where I started from. Some of my very, very good friends and influences in the sport were from there. But like it hasn't evolved. Where like USPSA at least evolved enough to allow this equipment in. They had changed the equipment rules so that some of this stuff was at least legal to shoot in a match. And now we have interest in it. So my question would be, do you think we should add concealment as a category officially recognized at USPSA matches? In the same way that we recognize military, lady, junior, senior, super senior, should we not just do concealed?
No. I'm going to go with no.
Why not?
Mostly because I want to see Hunter get up on the stage with a duffel bag full of cash and huck stuff out as a marketing thing, because I think that's awesome.
Damn it, you're right. Yep.
I mean, mostly because of that. I think it's rat like Hunter. What he's doing with this, I think, is the best use of marketing dollars at a competition shooting event I have maybe ever seen.
Dude.
Like who has? I mean, and I'm gonna say I think second best use was our Cricket 22 side stage that we used to put on when I was working for that suppressor company. I was pretty excited about that, but I think getting people to use your thing, getting people so psyched about this weird little side game that you have created that they're more excited to shoot that than they are to shoot for the stuff on the prize table. That's pretty damn remarkable.
Yes.
Like, you know, I mean, dude, Justine took home High Lady and third in belt cash, walked away with 2 G's. Like that's pretty sick, man. Like that's pretty sick. Like the girl who shot High Lady. Wait, did she win High Lady? Oh no, she was High Lady belt. Did she get eked out?
Oh, in the big match?
Yeah, did what's her name? Is it Morgan?
Who
I'm trying to remember if she got first or second.
I think Morgan might have got it.
I think Morgan edged her.
Keep talking, and I will verify.
I wonder if you could add up those concealed draws, and it would have turned into a W or not. I'm quite curious. But also, this is the thing. Like, if this is interesting enough, that Justine, obviously capable of taking High Lady at this match because she's a savage, is willing to potentially. Not potentially, to definitely give herself a disadvantage just in order to take place in the belt catch process. Like that's a pretty dope thing. But no, I don't think we should fundamentally change the sport in that way in order to get people to shoot from concealment.
It's not a fundamental change though. It's just an also ran.
Yeah, but
this is my thing with some of the other stuff we use categories for. It's like you can have a purple hat category or cowboy hat. You can have a cowboy hat category. Everybody that wears a cowboy hat at this match, here's how they stacked up.
Well, so this is my thing. I don't really like categories. I just kind of don't.
I don't either.
But
I kind of like this. Like I like that we could do things like this. We don't have to fundamentally change the main format, but other people can do these side things in a way that, I don't know, I think it broadens the format. But it's kind of one of those things we were talking about. It's like, well, if this is so popular, should we just recognize concealment and define what that is? Because, like, believe me, Hunter's rules, pretty loose. Okay? Pretty loose.
Well, so here's the thing. Do you think people are in it because they enjoy shooting from concealment, or do you think they're in it because they can win $3,000 if they take home the big one?
I 100% did it because I thought I legit had a chance at the cash. But along the way, my eyes were opened to another way to interpret and participate in the sport. Especially like me, single stack on a world shoot year. Like I have no illusion. I mean, I'm a GM in single stack, but I have no illusions of going for the dub in single stack. I was hoping to be in the high 80%. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Even from concealed, I was really hoping to see like not be that far off, and then I just kind of that went horribly wrong.
And then you decided to shoot a mic per stage, and that kind of went away.
To answer your question before we get off it, hold that thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Morgan Lionheart, 78.85. Justine Williams, 78.78.
Wow. Yeah, so that could have been the difference for sure.
It's absolutely the difference.
Like an extra couple,
absolutely the difference.
An extra couple of tenths on every single draw.
Yeah.
Like that.
Give it 2 tenths on a draw. Even 1 tenth.
Yeah.
Give her 1 tenth. If she's smoking fast concealed draw, which I mean she pretty much was because she's wearing leggings and then the belt over the top of it, and basically
I saw the holster sticking out underneath the belt, but above the leggings. I was like,
people were mad at it. People were mad at it. I was not. But
yeah, I mean, come on. How was that? I mean, yeah, from a not being concealed standpoint, but from a practicality of the actual draw standpoint, does it really make a difference if it's inside the
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I almost did it myself.
It's under the belt. It's under the belt. It's good enough.
Where are we going with that? Next point.
Oh no, so I Tim Herron.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world shoot qualifier year, right?
Oh no, the team's already been picked. Team's already been picked.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if Tim getting bumped to open was gonna make a difference on that.
Already been picked,
okay.
And they were essentially training or practicing.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, that would suck.
All the training that is going on for that match, like they are tuned up. This year.
Can they run bull barrels in IPSC?
I have no idea.
Because you can't in USPSA, right?
Oh, in single stack?
Yeah.
I don't think they can. I think their rules pretty much mirror ours on that in Classic.
Okay. So it has to be a bushing barrel then?
I think so.
Gotcha.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Because, if I was going to fly across the pond for a world shoot match, I'd want to have the best stuff, and I feel like there is an advantage of shooting a bull barrel over a bushing barrel. That'd be a bummer to have to buy a whole nother gun.
I thought it was awesome that Justine, when I saw Justine like train and conceal, I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. But like, I knew last year was my chance. That was my only. I'm like,
you gotta get while the getting's good. It's kind of out now.
If anything, like a zinger at myself, I figured some people would look at me winning that cash and be like, I could beat that guy. And like they would come after it too, but it's kind of like, I mean, we've said it. I love messing with people. Like, the mind f of, do I go at? I mean, Justine, am I gonna risk my title to go after this money? When the money is probably a bigger prize than anything, and Justine would probably be a good example. I don't know what their structure looks like. She very well could get paid contingency from her sponsor for when, there are shooters who get paid dollar bills if they finish first at a match. If this is the biggest payout in the sport, I don't know. I just think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I do like.
I think it's rad.
Yeah, and so I think adding it as a category. I don't think everything needs to be a category. Like some of these age categories, okay. I think we have a few too many age categories, or my personal opinion, not reflective of anybody I represent. There's people lobbying now for a veterans category, because veterans outside of military, they don't qualify. So like we need a high veteran at the match. I don't think we need that, but like in ways like we can actually participate in the sports in a different way, like concealment. I think adding a concealed category and some rules around it to govern it, because like right now, like, I mean, everybody, were you concealed when you drew? I mean, like it was basically gentlemen's rules right now, but you get enough of this money involved, gentlemen's rules might just go right out the window. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, then I think it's up to Hunter to lay down a little structure there.
Yeah, Yeah, and he was. I probably shouldn't blow the lid on that, but I think he's got exciting stuff for the future. Also, shout out to my buddy Matt.
I'm confident
at work. The local Vortex match, in Wisconsin section, we had 2 amputees. So they're lobbying hard around here to have an adaptive category for handicap missing limbs category for participation in the match. So my buddy Matt is advocating for an adaptive.
That makes more sense to me than first responder categories and military categories and all those other things.
Me too, because they're fundamentally participating in the sport in a different way. But anywhere there's a group of people that want to know how they stacked up against each other, I mean, all the girls would just want to know who is the best girl. So why not just have practice score tally it? But like, man, when we have to go through all these categories at awards and high B senior single stack, like it's like, okay, this is
Well, we won't get into this because we're getting to wrap up time here. But one of my very favorite things about 3-gun, which is a thing that a lot of people hate about 3-gun, is that there are no classes. Like, you're not, because to me it's like, oh, yay, you were high B, and this is coming from somebody who's not a GM in anything. And so I'd be like, okay, well, if I win high A or high M or high B or whatever, depending on the, the division that I'm shooting, that's just an arbitrary cutoff in the middle of this pack somewhere. And like that means absolutely nothing to me. Like, I just want to know how I did against the guy who won. That's all I care about. And I understand that I am 100% opposite of almost everybody on earth when it comes to this. But that, like, the more people I'm competing against, the more heat there is, the happier I am. And so I if you want to speed up award ceremonies, get rid of all that.
Yeah, right.
It's like, here's your top 3. Stand on the box, get your picture. Let's get the hell out of here.
Exactly. But without going stage by stage, that was Factory Gun Nationals.
We actually talked about a USPSA match. Right? Look at that. Go us. We did it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I guess I don't know about controversy. Lots of stuff happened. Gosh. I think, it's pretty good. It's the only reason to go to Ohio. It's like that in OTOA if you're in the law enforcement world. But it was hot. We did a lot of shooting in 3 days. Ran like clockwork. And the shooting was pretty easy because they used waterproof targets. Because they were afraid it was going to rain. But that just made any mistake, like if you lifted off the gas and centered into the rhubarb, is not good. It added up quickly. But Factory Gun Nationals, that is all we have to say about that this week. So, that being the case, y'all support your local range master. Pull the target. This one has been on the perf. And we'll see y'all next week.
See you guys.